Internet, how's it going? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Welcome back to World of Roocraft. I hope you are ready for another review. Last time we checked out the Night Elf race, and today we will take a look at their distant cousins, the Blood Elves. Before we jump into the backstory, let us take a look at the available classes and the racial traits for Blood Elves. Blood Elves can choose between the following classes: Hunter, Mage, Paladin, Priest, Rogue, Warlock, Warrior, and Monk. The racial traits include an ability to silence all enemies within 8 yards, a 1% increased critical strike, a permanent 10-point bonus on the enchanting skill, and a 1% reduction on arcane damage against you. That's pretty neat. And with that out of the way, let's head over to our favorite show. Roo Explains Stuff. Cast your mind back to the distant past. Do you remember our little video on the Night Elves? The one where I misspelled Night Elves. Yeah, that one. I told you in that video that after the Great Sundering, the Highborn were looking for a new home. While a majority of them decided to look for a new home on Kalimdor and stay abstinent of magic, a group splintered off under the leadership of Dafrimar Sunstrider and traveled the sea to found their own kingdom. These High Elves found their home in the northern parts of the Eastern Kingdom, but they had one problem. The land they found was already taken by the Amani Troll tribe. After a fierce battle with the Trolls, the High Elves managed to erect a giant barrier around their kingdom, and they called it Quel'thalas, with its capital Silvermoon City being the oldest remaining capital in Azeroth. They also pulled an Illidan and used stolen waters from the first Well of Eternity to create the Sunwell, a source of powerful magic. Over the next 4,000 years, the High Elves grew accustomed to the well's magic and developed a dependency on it. Also 4,000 years later, their old friends the Amani Trolls returned and started to give them a hard time. With the help of the human kingdom Abrator, the High Elves were able to fight back the Trolls once again. To show their gratitude, the Elves decided to teach magic to the humans. This laid the groundstone for the wizard nation of Dalaran. The more you know. Everything seemed right and dandy, and the High Elf kingdom was living in peace until the Third War rolled around. Oh, you just know who I'm going to bring up next. During his campaign in Azeroth, Arthas Menethil invaded Quel'thalas looking for the Sunwell. Countless elves lost their lives in this attack, including their king, Anastarian Sunstrider. Arthas used the Sunwell's power to resurrect the Lich Kel'Thuzad, corrupting the well in the progress. As Anastarian's son, Kel'Thas Sunstrider returned to Silvermoon, he not only learned about the gruesome fate that befell his kingdom, he also had to destroy the Sunwell due to its corruption. In an effort to honor their fallen comrades, Kel'Thas renamed his people to the Blood Elves. Now I often hear that people demand that Blizzard include the High Elf race into the game. They are already there. Blood Elves are High Elves, just with a different name. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Kel'Thas and his people later joined the forces of Azeroth in their effort to defeat the Burning Legion. Even though the Blood Elves built arcane sanctums all around Quel'thalas to siphon off the ley energies of the land, this wasn't enough for some. In a search for a new power source, Kel'Thas traveled to the distant Outland with a promise to lead his people to paradise. The Blood Elves later also joined the Horde during the Burning Crusade. And this brings us to today. Kel'Thas was actually able to find a new power source for his people. Using the mana forges of the Outland, he gathered enough power to reactivate the Sunwell. But oh swerve! As it turned out, Kel'Thas was now working for the demon Kil'jaeden, and Kil'jaeden was using him to create a portal so he could set foot on Azeroth. A group of brave adventurers managed to stop the now mad Kel'Thas and banished Kil'jaeden. After all of this, the Draenei prophet Velen used the power of a dying Naru to reignite the Sunwell, and everything was great once again. Not only was the Sunwell reactivated, the power of the light also started to heal the Blood Elves from their arcane cravings. And that's pretty much all we have to know before we jump right into the game. So, let's go! Our adventure starts at the Sunspire on the Sunstrider Isle. Like always, we start out with helping our fellow Blood Elves. The game gives us a little bit of insight on the Blood Elves' hunger for magic and how the nature and wildlife transformed due to the arcane experiments. We even get a little bit of a history lesson as we drop by a shrine dedicated to Duthrimar Sunstrider. Plus, we also get a first look at the Wretched, Blood Elves who gave into their addiction and overindulged in magic. Our next stop is the Falconwing Square in the ruins of Silvermoon itself. We fight a little bit more against the Wretched. They don't take up too much screen time, so don't get too used to them. We also have to decommission a bunch of crazy protector robots. That's right, this game has magical robots. Or should we call them mana swords? Any other Power Ranger fans here? No? Hello? Is that thing even on? Do you remember the arcane sanctums I mentioned before? We will spend a huge amount of time with those. Our first order of business there is to deal with a malfunctioning sanctum. After we cleaned out the arcane wraiths here, we also meet a new friend, a Danassian spy. Turns out that an envoy from the Dwarven city Ironforge helped them to sneak in and sabotage the sanctum. We thank the little guys with a very sharp haircut. At the West Sanctum we get the chance for some sweet revenge on the Scourge. Undead creatures are still roaming the area, also known as the Dead Scar, and we even help this young lady out with her research. As it turns out, even though the Sunwell was reignited, the land is still suffering from Arthas' attack and may never return to normal. If you want to know more about the Blood Elves and their addiction to magic, you should check out the Duskwidow Academy. Here you'll learn more about the drastic measures the Blood Elves took to feed the hunger, or you can help out the school's groundskeeper, Willy. Haha, I see what you did there, game. Very clever. Another storyline includes the Fairbreeze village and this guy who wants you to bring him party supplies. There's also the Fast Rider retreat, where you have to deal with the returning Amani trolls. Hang on. These people are still talking about Quel'thalas and the Outlands. That's not dated at all. You know what? I won't rant about it. I'm just gonna use this clip again.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
And no review would be complete without me mentioning the capital city. Silvermoon does look good, but it seems kinda empty. I'm not kidding. I've spent like an hour standing around there, and there wasn't a single other player around. But there's one thing I have to mention, since some people don't know it. If you want to continue on to Undercity after you're done in the Eversong Woods, there is a teleportation orb in Silvermoon you can use. You can thank me later. There isn't much more to talk about the Blood Elves, besides giving you my personal opinion. It pains me to say it, but the Blood Elves suffer from the same fate as the Night Elves. Given the Eversong Woods look amazing and I really dig the building designs of Silvermoon, but there isn't much of substance in the stories you encounter. Everything felt a little bit rushed. You figure out that there are Alliance spies in the kingdom and the game doesn't do much with it. There are only 2 or 3 quests dealing with the Wretched and the Undead Scourge before the game drops them again. Maybe those points are going to be continued on in the following Ghostlands. But it almost seems like the game is rushing you through the starting zone so you can go elsewhere. It also felt like Blizzard forgot that the Cataclysm happened. They don't even mention it in the opening cinematic. Don't get me wrong, that's refreshing after hearing about Deathwing's bullshit all the time. But I'm 99% positive that the quests didn't change since the Blood Elves were introduced in the Burning Crusade add-on. That seems kinda lazy. And that's all I have for today. Next time, we will take a look at the dwarves. If you enjoyed this review, let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. If you feel especially generous, consider sharing this video or subscribing to the channel. This is Roos signing off. Bye bye!